All right, welcome to the Kingdom Point of View. We back again. We here once again. We in the shop, and man, I want to tell y'all, appreciate you tuning in. We got our audience, we got our guests here. We got another one of our great moderators gonna be with me today. This is my classmate right here. Y'all better know this class of '95. My man Sheldon Hart right here. Great young man. I mean, we went to school together, and he called me and told me he wanted to come on the show, and I was just as happy as he was, and pride just as well, because this is what it's all about. We never know who you can inspire from different ways. I look up to him, he look up to me, and we look up to many others, and that's what we want to continue to teach on this kingdom walk, that we all have that authority, as the young man said on another show, somebody above us, and we all got to pull together. The scriptures say strength and strength we go on. So how are we going to be able to go on? And iron sharpen iron if one man sharpens another. And that's what it's all about. Don't never feel like you're less, especially when you're in good company. It's a bad company corrupts good behavior. So you want to be with the wise. It say the wise walketh with the wise. And any man follow a fool is on the path of destruction. But I ain't going to get too started just yet, because we haven't even got a topic from our moderator yet. But I get excited when I get good people up here. And I know that we're going to have a good time. My man is definitely very intellectual. And I mean, he got a lot of more information than I got from different perspectives. And we've always been like that in school. And Sheldon, man, I definitely appreciate you, Mr. Hart, for coming on the show, man. And I know one great thing about it, that moving forward, because in your profession in education or in all sorts of programs and stuff you've done, like I said, I know you're a genius, and probably so much stuff that ain't even on the table you've done, because you're a person that encourages people just as well, as myself, as we have, moving silent, a lot of times. But at some time, it does come to this point that sometimes it just needs to be said.
It got to be said, man. And
yes, sir.
First, thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, let me tell y'all something about Johona. I can go years without speaking to him, and then we'll get on the phone with each other, and I'll look down at the phone time, like, man, we've been on the phone for an hour and a half. And we're just going back and forth, coming from different perspectives, but we always ended up at the same point. So I just want to say, man, I'm glad to be here, and I don't know where this conversation gonna go, but I'm sure it's gonna be very informative.
Yes, sir.
And entertaining at the same time.
Absolutely, young man. I mean, that's what it's all about on the Kingdom Point of View. And just like our natural conversation, like you say, is always trying to draw some type of medium, to meet people where they at. That's what I like to do. Try to get people to open up and have or share some type of information where they at in life. Because I say this sometimes when I'm talking with my guys and other young ladies or whoever having questions about what's taking place in life. Why would I talk about a washing machine when you need help with a dryer? And that's what's happening a lot out here, and I'm sure with you being an educator and teaching and like I say, with math and different stuff like that, you can't solve a problem. This is what we have to understand. And I guess I probably need to start that. And I'm gonna force you into a conversation, because I know he loves math so much and he loves formulas like me. And that, how can we solve a problem with the wrong variable?
It's impossible. It's impossible. Well, see, most people fall out of love with math at two places in our education curriculum. It's either when you start adding and subtracting fractions with unlike common denominators, because people start trying to find that common denominator, they're like, man, this don't make sense anymore. Or if they make it past that point, when they introduce that X, that variable that you speak about, the first thing that people will say is, man, I thought math was about numbers. And now you got the alphabet in here. So, and next thing you know, you hear most people say, man, I hate algebra. And I laugh and I chuckle when I hear that, because I disagree. Everyone loves math. Everyone loves algebra, because in a nutshell, math is the coding language to thinking.
All right, Doc.
You just talked about those variables.
All right, Doc.
And so for every time we go into a simple situation or a complex situation, when we're solving a simple problem or a complex problem, we are looking and isolating the different variables that's causing that problem. we're looking at the ones that we have no control over. Those are the independent variables.
You own it, Doc.
Okay?
You own it.
Then we're looking at those that we do have some control over. Those are the dependent variables.
All right.
Then on the other side of that equal sign is the result that we desire. And so then what we try to do is see how we can manipulate those variables that we have control over to get closer to the desired result, which is on the other side of that equal sign. We do it all the time. We do it in different ways though. How you process may not be the same way you process.
All right now.
And it's not a right or wrong way to process. You just have to master your way that you process that information.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we're all mathematical geniuses if we're striving and moving in that narrow path that you speak about all the time.
Absolutely.
And we're going toward the goal that we're headed towards. We're all mathematical geniuses. See, what they teach in school is just the foundational rules because math is nothing more than addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Everything else is just adding on to the levels.
Absolutely. You want it.
And so going to Northeast, I remember I met Johona back in when we first went to Appleton in 7th grade.
That's right.
When they brought all the neighborhoods from the east side, smacked us right smack dab at Appleton. And I met him. And even though neither one of us could articulate it like this at the time,
Right.
I could see that dude right there was on it. I remember being in math class and looking like, okay. You know, and I've always been one that, you know, when I see someone that's moving in that direction and they're making good grades on their test, but not only that, they're displaying that understanding, I'm going to sit next to them. I'm trying to get all the good to come off of that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like Reverend Stanley just said, you know, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to go to another room.
Absolutely.
You know, because that's the only way you can grow.
Absolutely.
But, you know, just going through that and I know learning math and getting that understanding,
Yes, sir.
I knew that I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do,
Okay.
but I knew that if I could go to school and get a math degree, that I could get a degree and then I can go out here and do the things and start stepping in a direction that my heart aligns with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're right on it. And I can do a total repeat for everybody here in the audience and definitely to him and back on the camera again for those who viewing and will watch later. I mean, you said it correctly about wanting to be close and everything he said. I'm the same way. I'm like, man, I got to get close to this guy. That guy's intelligent. You know, but that's the energy that we need to have. We shouldn't be envious of one another. We should be more excited, you know, to be around people who are positive. And the flip side of it, those who are on that level shouldn't want to try to not be around people to help them either. And that happens sometimes too. Some people have information not even willing to share it. You know, that's how the torch can't get passed. And so utilizing those type of things, just like you said, and breaking back down on the kingdom point of view, when he used those variables, the X, the Y, and equal to, that's why in math, it'll have a number on the side. It'll say, let's just say 60. It'll say X plus 30 equals 60. And now you got to solve for X. These are our life situations right here. We already know what the answer is. And on the kingdom point of view, the answer is God. The answer is believing in Jesus Christ. You know, now you got to solve for X. Now you need to activate your Holy Spirit. You already got a number, which means these are the days you're dealing with, because tomorrow ain't promised. But you're trying to equate to an end. Martin Luther King say that we'll have the means by which we live and not the distance for which we live. So we got to know that there's a difference. Sometimes we caught right there in the means. But what about the end? The end is the results. We're looking for a result. So in the foundation principles, like he was saying from a mathematical standpoint, it's trying to teach you how to get to the result. And not only forward, but backwards. Because God never started anything that he hadn't already finished. He already know the answer. He knew you before you was in your mother's womb. He already know who you are. He got your answer. He just waiting on you to work it out. So when you coming into this X, now what is done in math, it tells you to move the number to the other side. And anytime you move from one side of the equal sign, you have to change the sign. Huh? You have to change the sign. You have to become a new creature. Huh? So you already on this side, you on the left side. Now we got to move you to the right side. Huh? And we're trying to get you to equate to something. Huh? We're trying to get you to become. That's what he was trying to tell Adam in the beginning. Become. Huh? He wanted him to find out who he was. So therefore, when you move that x plus 30 equals 60, trying to solve it, when you move it on the other side of the equal sign, it becomes a negative. So you got to remove those old things, huh, to get your end result. And now when you come down on the next line, x equal 60 minus 30. Now notice I didn't give you the answer. The reason why, because you have to know how to work the steps by steps. See, a lot of times we want the answer. We want a microwave, huh? We want a microwave, but then when you get into another situation, you won't know how to solve the problem. This is life right here. So now that you done wrote it all the way out, vision it all out, a man without a vision shall perish, huh? So you got to be able to see it inside your mind and then write it on the paper. You can't write it unless you thought about it. Write the vision, make it plain. Listen at the word. Nothing's different. The fundamentals are the same. These are the earthly things that are tied to the spiritual. Because the spirit produces those things of the flesh. It ain't the other way around. So therefore, now we're dealing with x equals 60 minus 30. So you drop down again to another level. Now you're solving the problem. X equal 30 now. Now you're saying x equal 30, you have to check it. How does check go hand in hand? How can x equal 30? How can that line up with the word of God? Watch how I go get you. God, I'm paraphrasing because this the devil here talking to God. What about Job right there? I think he only really serving you because he got all these things. Let me try him. Huh? God say, go ahead. Now, when I'm saying go ahead, that means the test just happened. Huh? See, the equal, getting your equal, preparing you for the test. Huh? So now what you do, you test to see if the x is really 30. Put 30 back at the top of your initial problem. 30, which was x, so you replace the x with 30. So now it's 30 plus 30 equals 60. And then drop down again. Huh? And then see how Job came out on the other side. 60 equals 60 because God already knew who he was dealing with. So he allowed these things to happen because he already knew the end. And that's exactly what we have to understand. That's why I wanted to have my guy up here with me talking, be so excited, because I knew how I was going to be able to utilize naturally himself. He going to tell you them equations and numbers and just as well as me, but that's his time right now. And I'm here cleaning it up with the word to show you the same comparison. It's the same system that if you put the wrong number or don't work the problem out according to, this is where it says obedience is greater than sacrifice. You might sacrifice looking over on the other side of the paper over there on somebody's chair. I got the right answer. Huh? You just sacrifice that. Huh? But the obedience, huh? How can you hear unless you hear from a, let's switch it, teacher, which is the preacher. And I know that to be true because he said that the bishop or pastor should be apt to teach in Timothy. So this is the teacher. Are you listening to the teacher? So now when you listen to the teacher, you begin to understand how to work the variables. What is a variable in the Bible? Adversities, huh? Speed bumps, huh? Things you don't like, things you can't control, huh? This is what we're dealing with. So now you have to be able to simplify. Have you ever heard that term in math? Simplify. Mr. Hart just told you we're only dealing with adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Everything else is just additional things, huh? A flat tire just additional, huh? Nothing's new. What you do with a flat tire? If it could be fixed, you fix it. If it can't, you need to replace it, huh? You don't need to get stressed out, huh? A lot of times we in the test, but we getting stressed out. What we call majoring in the minors, huh? What he said, like he was just telling me, stand on the narrow path. You know your destination. So what you gonna do with it? Or are you going to stay idle right there? Or are you going to do what we just was saying, you want to sacrifice a little bit and sneak and look on the other paper, but it's going to catch up with you? Yeah. Huh? It's going to show in the long run that you didn't work the problem out, because you will see it again. Mm-hmm. You will see adding and subtracting and problem solving your entire life. So the best time to get it is in your foundation. That's why they have stages in pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, second grade. There are levels. And then there are people that begin to move along faster. But you can't let that discourage you either. Because as long as you get the foundational principles down pat, you can do anything. Because once you learn how to add and subtract, if you can get that down pat, you're going to be a tough cookie. I know when I was younger, one thing that helped me, what my mother did to us, was repetition. Repetition is the key. Yep. You need to do it over and over again. And it worked. I know it worked for me. My mama said one thing about it, you're going to write enough times, either your hand going to get it right or your mind. And boy, look at here. When you had to come home and write them numbers, I tell you, I can do it over and over in my head. And when me and Sheldon was in school, we had these teachers in high school, man, and I say, man, they was good, man. I remember Miss Long and Miss Schuler, them, mm-hmm. and it was tough. We had the scientific calculators back then. Of course, we working these problems out. But listen, unless you work that problem out on the paper, you're not going to get it right. You can have the right answer all you want. But they want to see, how did you solve the problem? That's what he meant by there are many ways to get to an answer now. Huh? But you got to follow the actual principle, the right procedure on how it's already told how to do. And when you do it, guess what happens on the next level? Now you got to work backwards. Now, if you can work backwards, now you're a tough cookie then. Because then they used to give us the answer and then tell us to find the problem. And that's what's happening in life. A lot of us already have the answer, but then when the problem comes, we can't work backwards. We can move forward, but we can't go in reverse. Martin Luther King said that sometimes you need to go backwards in order to go forward. He said he used the parable about the Bible with the Levite on one of his speeches, and he said that he can see how they passed by the Levite in his mind. He said the priest and the Levite could have been scared, He said they could have been scared in his opinion, or they could have been wanting to go to a church service. He was giving different examples on why they passed by. And he used the Damascus road, the bloody path, as an example. He said him and his wife went over there and seen it, and it was like a winding dandro type of road. And what he said was, he seen that happen. He was up in Atlanta going over his dad's house, and the guy was on the side of the road and threw his hand up, and he was like the street he was traveling on. He said, nah, I know I don't need to stop for that, man, but because he said he was scared. No, he was scared. He didn't stop. He said, but what he realized that sometimes, you may have to go backwards, because in our mind, we always think that we need to go past something, huh? But what have you done for others, huh? See, a lot of times we go back. When you're working these problems out, you'll find something along the way. Mm-hmm. And when you find something along the way, you overlooked. Yep. And you're going to see it again. And so we're working these things out. We're trying to problem solve. So when you're going to church and when you're in study, when you're going to these classes, look at it as a way of solving problems. Mm-hmm. That's when your ears begin to open up. Those who want to solve problems, you start paying attention. Many people who have a lot of problems, it's only because they don't know how to solve it. They don't know which direction to go. So the whole point of it all is, in that example that he used thus far, is showing how to solve problems in order. Because either we're going to be obedient or disobedient. And that's called order or out of order. And these are the same functionalities that we're dealing with in life. And I promise you, in any situation, if you are honest, that's why I asked them this question in the beginning. I said, can you solve a problem if you don't have the real problem? If you don't have all the information, how many people have talked to you, meaning in general, how many people have talked to us, and they want to solve a problem, They really do.
Identified.
But they left something out.
Haven't identified it.
So the point is to all the viewers and those in here that we're after solving problems. And if you want to solve the problem, if you're talking to the teacher, or if you're talking to the iron sharpening iron, you're talking with somebody who have your best interests at heart, you got to give the whole problem in order to get the right solution. Because if you never have that, it's impossible to solve. But what can happen is you can get the right answer, but your answer could be different with your problem. Now, how did that make sense, what I just said right here? I call this the Tools family. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm already writing a book right now called The Tool People. Okay. And we're going to work that out. See, this is what happens in life. 2 times 2 equals 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4. See, I can give you the right answer. But if you run across a 3, see, you could believe that if I multiply and add, see, because remember this behavior right here, you would sacrifice it. Oh, I got the right answer. Mm-hmm. He said 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 plus 2 is 4. So I ain't got to worry about that no more. See, now I got 3 times 3. So now I'm finna say that's finna be 6, and 3 plus 3 finna be 6. Because I seen that with the tools. So that's what happens in life and perception. We see the tools people. And the tools people have got us confused in the system of adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. And so what we have to do is to make sure, like I say, to hear, we need to pay attention in class. We have to be students. We have to be willing to learn. That's why the word teaches, seek ye first the kingdom. We have got to have a desire to know. And so when we have that, now we'll know that multiplying and adding don't equate the same thing. Yes, sir, young man. Help us out, man.
Something that rung a bell when you was talking, you was saying about repetition, as mom had you doing things like over and over. And as a kid and as growing up, I noticed I used to hear all the time that practice makes perfect. But see, I kind of disagree with that. I believe practice makes permanent, not perfect.
All right.
Because if you're practicing wrong, like it's not going to do any good.
Absolutely. That's a great point, young man. That's a great point in that foundation to pull out from that standpoint, because you can actually do something continuous, like you saying, and it be the wrong thing. And that has happened in many times too. That's using that point and taking it right back to what I just said with the tools. See, the repetition of looking at multiplying, adding, it came out right then. So then you'll take that same thought process. See, we're after that mindset, like you said, and that's great substance to be in an observation of, because certain words can throw you off. The variables, as Mr. Hart would say, in his class, can kind of throw you off because it's not always the same. One difference in a symbol can change. These symbols are personalities. Watch how I'm walking math. See, now you were dealing with a person that can add to you. The words say that that 2 are better than 1, But if you get the wrong 2, like you just said, young man, now you got a subtraction, So you need to make sure that they're adding to you. In the beginning, he said, God said he created him a helper. Anything that helps adds to you. So you do not want to add a subtraction. Because in math, I ain't that too far out of school, because I remember so many core. See, there's the parentheses, and you can have a plus sign in front of a parentheses with a -2. Let me say it right with the teacher here. Open parentheses and close parentheses. So now, when you do that, you got plus, open parentheses, -2, close parentheses, equals, that's a -2. Because you added a negative,
No.
Yes, sir.
No,
Help us out, Mr. Hart.
I mean, that was a great question, man. And you alluded to a couple of things, man.
Okay.
Because what you're doing is you're taking what you learned in school and applying it to yourself. And I think that's one of the issues that a lot of young students are having now, because they're going to school, and I mean, just like everything else, man, a majority of these kids that get up and go to school every day, they are good kids. I mean, Macon has so much talent here. I mean, I come across kids, man, that are so innovative that it just blows me out the water, and they don't even understand how innovative they are, because a lot of these things, even though we have a lot of distractions now, but a lot of these kids are natural content creators. They are some of the most creative people you will come across, but the things they learn at school, they keep them at school. Then they go to the neighborhood, and the things they learn at the neighborhood, they keep it at the neighborhood.
That's good.
They go to church, they keep it at church.
There you go.
And they don't ever combine those to see that the same rules and the same orders rule all of those. And see, like, once you start to combine those, that's when you get that true understanding, and you're able to really, really, really jump in and see what your strengths really are. Because too often, people are so concerned with being good at everything, but you only need to be good at one thing. That's it. You only got to master one thing. You can master one thing, and then you can take that and apply it to everything, because it's following the same rules and orders of people that have different strengths and different capabilities. And so, and that's just what made sense to me. Because I mean, truth be told, I know he refers to me as a teacher, but I wasn't only a classroom teacher for like 3 years. And to be honest with you, I didn't even really know that much academic language in math until I had to go in front of a class and teach, because it was just something that made sense to me.
Correct.
And it was something that I was able to apply to even some of the different subjects that we were learning. Even though some of those subjects weren't my strengths, I was able to apply some of those same principles to that, and it helped me to do well in some of those other things. But just making sure that we're applying those different things, because I mean, school is designed to do exactly what it's doing. Right. And this is just my opinion. Some of the issues that the school systems are having now is that we're putting too much burden on them. It's hard enough teaching kids algebra, English, social studies, history, Spanish, French, all these other extracurriculars, this, that, and the third.
Come on with it, Doc.
But now we want the schools to also motivate, teach financial literacy, teach social emotional learning, where we are talking about self-control, behavior, self-awareness. And whenever you are given the task of doing too much, you don't accomplish anything.
All right, you own it now.
You know what I mean? And so Reverend Stanley alluded to, what about the accountability?
Yes, sir.
And I'm just gonna be frank. I mean, I don't expect any other community to help our community but our own community.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
I understand.
I mean, because, you know, you don't have, I would imagine, it's funny because, I mean, you think that you would have a room full of white people talking about saving the black community? Would we be in here right now, all of us talking about, man, what we gonna do to go over there and save this community over here, this white community over here? No, that's our responsibility to save our own community, to get back so we can get that talent and put that talent in the limelight.
I'm with you.
Because it's a lot of people that have that talent, but it's like we appreciate a kid's potential.
Yeah, I got you.
9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. But if that potential energy doesn't convert to what? Kinetic.
All right, Doc. You want
After
it
they
now.
graduate from high
I'm
school,
following
not everybody looking at that kid like a failure.
Exactly.
You know? And so one of the things that with the students that I work with, I try to get them to understand that it's okay if you don't know what you want to do.
Exactly.
But what's not okay is that you need to be spending every waking moment trying to figure that out.
That's it, doesn't it?
Okay?
That's it,
Every
doesn't it?
moment. Because if you don't have a goal and you don't have a direction, you cannot evaluate yourself.
That's it.
You can't. It's
That's it.
impossible.
That's
You
it.
gotta have goals to be able to evaluate yourself and your movements.
You own it, boy. You own it now.
And so, like, I'm happy when a student makes all A's. But guess what the first question I asked them?
What you ask
Did you do your very best?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got a 95 in math, algebra 2. Can you factor? Now, I struggle with factoring a little bit. Well, don't allow that 95 to define you in that course because you know whether or not you're good at something.
You own it.
We can't allow the system to define our students. We can't allow grades to define students. We can't allow test scores to define students.
That's right.
We have to put that in the correct perspective and saying that, okay, I want to go to college. You know, so, you know, I go to a student and I say, hey man, what you want to do? You know, Mr. Hart, I'm interested in mechanical engineering. Hey man, that's great. Okay, so have you taken time to look to see
That's it. Now you own
what training does a mechanical engineer need to have?
That is now.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. What's your favorite subject? I mean, I like math. I like science. I'm real big on problem solving. All right, you got the skill set. Okay. So have you looked at the schools that are in Georgia and other places that you can get that degree from? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How much does it cost to go to that school? Okay, so kid look, oh, you know, the best engineering school in Georgia, from what I'm seeing, Mr. Hart, you know, is Georgia Tech. All right, so how much does Georgia Tech cost? $25,000 a year. All right, let me ask you this question. Do you think you can go to your mom and daddy right now and tell them to stroke a $25,000 check without disrupting anything else in their household every year? No, sir. I said, I understand, because I couldn't either.
There you go.
All right, but now let me show you how you can do this. And going back to what I was saying, understanding that the system and it's basically a game. So now let me show you how you can earn that scholarship to go to Georgia Tech.
All right.
You know, you want to try to keep your grades up as high as you possibly can.
There you go.
Okay. Now, you in 9th grade. I'm not big on test taking, but you know, students who, the higher your score is on the SAT or the ACT, the higher your probability of being able to get some money from that institution and then other outside scholarships.
There you go.
All right, so let's work on that.
There you go.
All right, so now, what else we need to work on? Okay, so you got that? All right, so we need to increase your portfolio value, you know, because if the only thing you do is go to school and do your work, people are interested in well-rounded individuals.
There you go now.
So now let's look at some of these volunteer things over here.
All right.
You know, you play any sports? Are you in the band? You attend church? Do your church do a lot of voluntary activities? So let's build up that portfolio there. All right. So now what we're doing is we're trying to put that kid, having them map out their yearly path at the 9th grade level.
There you go.
Now, does that mean that we're going to put those things in stone? No. See, because all we need to do, all we need to know, all we need to see is the next step that we need to take.
That's it.
You know, one of my mentors told me that if you wait for all the lights to turn green before you leave home, you will never leave. When you riding down that dark road and you have your lights on, y'all only see about from here to my man right here.
Right.
You know, but as I keep going, I see a little bit further each way I go. And so as that student starts to do that, who knows? By the time that kid goes from 9th to 10th grade, that may, he may change. He might not want to be a mechanical engineer anymore.
That's right now.
But as he's moving toward that mechanical engineering, the things that he did in 9th grade, he's still in a position to change that.
Change that. You own it now.
You know, and so
you walking.
You know, And when we start looking at it, because that's what people used to tell us when we were in school, hey man, go to college and figure it out when you get there. Okay?
Yeah.
But let me tell you the difference.
Okay.
I went to school out of state.
All right.
And my out-of-state tuition was $16,000 a year. That was in 1995. Now, in-state Fort Valley, Middle Georgia State University is $21,000 a year. College is too expensive because what happens to our kids when they go to school with no direction, they not quite sure they want to go.
Uh-oh. Tell it, Doc.
They take loans out. They go for a year, maybe a year and a half. They stop out. Okay, now, once you get that federal loan, guess what happens?
Uh-oh.
You stop out, you can't get no more until you pay them back. Okay? So now you get a job.
I'm with you.
But that job is not providing for you, or you feel like it's not providing enough for you to pay back that loan like you need to. So you say, man, I ain't worried about no Sally Mae. You know, you go and get you an apartment and then you start living, you start accumulating bills and all of that stuff. But then what happens? So now not only you can't get back in school right now, what happened when you don't pay back that loan and miss that payment?
That's right.
Your credit screwed.
There you go.
So now when your credit score drop, so now when it's time for you to go and get that car, you paying $800-900 a month that somebody else might be paying $400-500 a month for because your credit score low. Absolutely. And so it's just like an endless tunnel. You don't have the skills to make the money that you need to make.
Correct.
Now when you try to make moves, you got to pay high interest rates, which is going to cost more money, and you just keep digging a hole deeper and deeper for yourself. One of the worst things that happened during our time was that they hierarchied the different schools.
Uh-oh. You in it deep now, boy.
You know, they made it seem like vocational was here.
There you go.
2-year university was here.
There you go.
4-year university was here. No, they're on the same level. It just depends on what you want to do.
Absolutely.
If you're interested in carpentry, you don't need to go to a 4-year university.
All right.
You need to go out there to Central Georgia Tech. If you want to live on campus, go to some of these other schools that got on-campus technical schools. Go and get your certificate.
All right now.
If you want to be in information technology, you don't have to go to college.
There you go now.
There are certificate programs online through Coursera that you can start taking in the 11th grade. And if you get your certifications, by the time you walk across that stage, you can make $70,000 to $80,000 a year and continue to build up based on your certification level.
You own it now.
So it's just about what it is you want to do, and then you select the proper training, and then you make the move to where you need to go.
Yes, sir.
Because you hear people say, well, man, college ain't for everybody. That's true. Well, you know, and college this, college that. But what ends up happening is, you know what happened?
Tell us, Doc.
People treat college as a goal and not a vehicle.
All right, Doc. Tough, no.
It's a vehicle.
You own it, Doc.
You know what I mean? So what I mean by that, D'Angelo, is this right here, man. I see students say, man, you know, everybody choose professions based off the perceived amount of money they're going to make. So then that's what people say, man, I want to be a doctor.
You own it now.
They go to college, take that first biology class, it give them that KO, and then they back off.
You
Say, well, shoot, man, I got to get that degree. Start thumbing through the book. I'm just going to major in this right here. Okay? So let's say, like, for example, they choose psychology. Nothing wrong with psychology, you know? But if you choose that major and you want to go down that path for real, then you're going to have to go to additional schooling, you know, to become a psychiatrist or a psychologist.
I'm following.
You know what I mean? And so, but you don't want to do that. You just want to get that piece of paper because you want the celebration.
I'm with you.
I got it.
I'm with you.
I got it.
You own it now.
I got it.
You own it.
And so then you come out and try to enter the workforce. You see the couple of jobs that you might be able to get with that foundational degree, and you're like, I don't want to do that. Now all of a sudden, That's why you see the people over there, they got the college degree, but having a hard time finding a job.
That's it.
You know, why? Because they treated college like it was the goal. To get that piece of paper was the goal. No, that's just a certification saying that you completed this. But once you walk in them doors, wherever you're trying to do next, once you walk in them doors, that piece of paper disappears. Now it's on you. Who are you? What have you become while you were obtaining that goal? Or what did you become while you were striving when you were in college? You know, because I'm a firm believer, man, that we get so caught up in the celebration of things and in the ceremony of things, and people don't quite understand that you are who you become when you're striving for that goal.
You own it now.
That celebration is just one day. And I tell my kids that all the time. Like,
All right,
look,
man.
I'm going to be proud for you to graduate, but let me tell you what's going to happen to you. Because I remember graduation. You remember how much we used to talk? Man, I'm sorry. Man, you know, man, yeah, we're going to graduate. We're going to go and get this room after this right here. We're going to go and do this. We're going to stay out all night. Blase, blase, blase. And then it seemed like that stuff go by like this right here. And then you wake up the next morning and it's like, what you going to do, bro?
That's right. That's right now.
You know, and so, you know, that's why I just encourage people as you come across young people, if you have influence over them or that you have their ear,
Absolutely.
just start to get them to think about what it is you want to do, but more importantly, how would you like to live? Because you can begin with the end in mind.
That is.
And then, like you say, that backward solving,
Absolutely.
then you can trace your steps back. It's not written in stone.
That's right.
You can, you know, as you grow and you learn more, you know, you can always deviate, but you start walking down that path with those steps.
Absolutely.
Intentional steps. Yeah.
Bro, Hart, boy, you was tough on him. You tough on him. I'm
Hey,
talking
man.
about you got a plethora of information, and those steps are core because this is foundational building, and that's what it's all about. For those who gonna be listening, those who are in here right now, and I'm always learning. Like I said, I'm listening and even repeating, you know, in this situation, you know, certain things to keep you motivated and inspired the right way, because we all gonna have something that we have to hurdle. You know, just like I heard you saying about, you know, the things and the perception of maybe the money, we choose profession. In the word, that's why I teach you about don't covet your neighbor things. Don't let your eyes fool you. So you could be tricked by these type of things. All of these are the same tricks and components that's taking place to get you, like the word teach you, off your path. So you have a path, and when you set, that's why I say, see, a man without a vision shall perish. That's that destination that he's talking about. That's that expected end that we're discussing. And when you got a vision on something, you know you want to do something, then you would know that there are certain things you can't do. Now you start observing the steps and saying, okay, well, if I go this way, I'm definitely ain't going to make it down there. You know, like you're saying, we right here in Macon, Georgia right now. If you want to go to Atlanta, that's 75 north. So you shouldn't be caught on 16. That means you head in the wrong direction. And you got to know that, but you will understand that if you know you want to go to the airport. And along the way, like he said, hey, you may want to stop in Tanger Outlet, huh? But that's okay, because on that path, you found something else out, you know? But you was on your path because you set a destination. You had a vision. And it's like, I always use the seed parable because it will always make sense. The seed becomes a tree, because it's planted in the soil, water, and it starts developing. See, the seed, the tree was already in the seed. So as you begin to become a tree, the other things that come up while you're developing, now you got branches. And that's what he was explaining. You may branch off into technical school, huh? But you mastered this one thing, how to grow. And once you master how to grow, you can do all these things because you foundationally are driven on a vision of growth.
Yep.
And that's what the statement's being made. Are we looking at ourselves? Are we trying to have that vision of self-development? Have we set a plan? You know, write the vision, make it plain. See, it's all the same. Everything he's saying, I'm sitting up here taking it in. I'm like, man, he's walking the word so hard. because this the parable way of teaching. That's why I already knew. He was like, man, we get up here, ain't no telling what we'll say. See, but I already know who he is. And when he get to talking and them formulas start coming, see, I'm going to tie it all the way back into where the word is at. These are the stepping stones, huh? That's why I said write the vision. That's all he was saying, write your vision. Yep. Don't let your vision be somebody else's vision. Yep. That's what he just said. What is it that you passionate about? That's what he was trying to tell you. Find out things as the word say. The word say your gift will make room for you. That's why he say he wasn't bashing college or anything. But God say your gift will make room for you. And along your way of developing or wanting certain things, like he said, who do you want to be? Huh? That's not the actual stepping. That's not the last thing, like he say, but you got to expect the end. So you saying, hey, I want to be that. And along the way, you're going to find something out about yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's all about. You cannot find out about yourself unless you have a vision of something. You got to be inspired by something. And everybody is influenced by something. Yep. Those are the statements that he was making. Yep. What are you influenced by? What do you want to be? What do you want to have? And these things are already there because God already telling us in this kingdom to be dependent on God. God already got you. He waiting on us to have him.
But you know,
yes, sir.
But you know, because like, and so then like, even when you think about the people who succeed, that, you know, say somebody starts out and say, I want to be a doctor. It's important that we, like I say, how do you want to live? See, because then you become that doctor and then you look up and you doing 12, 13, 14-hour shifts, 5 days a week. You working like that and you're like, hold up. This is not what I expected. I don't have time to spend with my family and things of that nature. So that's why it's important that, you know, not only what, but how. You know what I mean? It gotta be how. Because or you have to help students, or you know, that's where that community come in. So you can let them shadow that doctor and see. You can let them shadow that lawyer. I have a lot of students that say they want to be lawyers because they got some TV show or some movie they've seen where they seen the lawyer just in there showing out in the courtroom or doing their thing in the courtroom, to only find out that most lawyers look to not to have to ever go to court.
I understand.
And they're like, hold up, that's not my only job. You mean I got to read all these briefs and stuff?
There you go. There you
know, I'm looking to settle and negotiate and stuff like that. But you know, you said something real strong, man. And when you start talking about vision,
yes, sir.
And the thing is, that's why it's so important that we get people to identify some goals. That's why, like, you know, as the love-hate relationship that I have with schools right now personally, I think they're good for people because it gives them a chance to set goals. Even though it's not the final goal, it gives them a chance to set goals, because if you don't set goals, the system will set goals for you.
Oh man, you tough on it now.
I know you do. You still do landscaping?
Yes, sir.
What happens? What grows if nothing is put on that lawn? What grows? The indigenous plants, right? Whatever it is, the indigenous plant of that area. And in this case, the indigenous plant is the system.
100% now.
So if you don't have your own goals, the system is going to put you within their goals. And right now, the system isn't in our favor.
Right.
So it's imperative that you plant those goals and you plant those seeds, because if you don't, you're going to become that. And then what happens is, what seems cool, what seems entertaining, what seems popular at that time,
you with it?
That becomes a major force.
That's it.
That becomes a major vision. That becomes what you start to do, because, you know, at the end of the day, everybody want to be accepted.
That is.
Everybody want to be liked. No one wakes up in the morning and say, I'm going to be a failure today. I'm going to be successful at something.
All right.
Whether that's cutting the food.
All right.
You know, whether that's being the biggest, baddest joker that can't lose a fight.
All right.
Whether that's hollering at all the girls. You're going to be successful at something when you wake up in the morning.
That's right.
I mean, that's just human nature. You know, and
Yes, sir.
Man, that's, you know, you know, and I mean, and it's just, I love what I do from day to day.
That's it. That's the
Because when I see those students out there and you just see, and you know, they say something and it just be like fly by night to them and you like, whoa, how old are you again, 14?
I'm telling you.
You know, and so,
You
I
own
mean,
it. You own it, bro, Hart.
but
I mean,
you know, as we start to talk, man, we
boy.
just got to make sure that stop the division, because whether it's the church, whether it's the school, wherever it is, it's the same stuff.
Same
it's
stuff.
different vocabulary,
Which?
you know, different deliveries, but it's all the same.
It's all the same.
Because at the end of the day, like you said, you know, whether you want to call it prayer, whether you want to call it meditation, each individual in here and out there, we already have all the answers inside of us, man. We just got to get quiet enough so we can remember them.
That's a
We
good
got
way.
them.
That's a good way.
We got them.
That's it.
I mean, you know. And sometimes you know to the point where only thing holding you back is fear and insecurities.
That's exactly what it is.
And we all have them.
There you go.
And you have to deal with that on an everyday basis.
100%.
You know, you can't keep stuff pressed down in you. I'm so glad that the stigma of mental health has been lifted. So if you need to go and speak to somebody, don't be ashamed to do it. Because you can't push that stuff down, man. Because it's going to come out.
It's going to come out.
It might not come out in the same form.
Exactly.
But if you can deal with that and you can just get there and you just be quiet and be still, man, he'll tell you the answer.
I already done told it to you.
Yep, he done already told you. You just got to remember it.
What they always say on, I heard it plenty of times from a lot of audience members, where your help come from? From
Yes,
the
sir.
good Lord.
You had a question? Oh, okay.
He was saying from the good Lord. Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. I mean, you know, we working these concepts, you know. That's why I always mention components all the time on the show, because these are the variables I will always say. And having my brother up here, you know what I'm saying, to be able to share from that experience and being in the school system. See, when we was in school, like I say, we was supposed to actually be engineers by title. But within us, see, we still engineers in the mind. You know, we're problem solvers. That's why we see things the way that we see it. When I was a little boy, it could be a brand new toy, I'd take it apart. Because I want to know how it works. How does it operate? And so once I know how it operates, then it doesn't matter to me. Then I know how far I can go with it. And that's how we have to do. That's what he was saying about the lesson plan, your goals, your vision. When he's talking to his students like, okay, you want to be this mechanical engineer? All he did was open the toy for them. Huh? Oh, you see that? You see that screw right there? You see that? You sure you still want that? And that's what we have to do with our lives, no matter what it is. We have all different professions in here. And so that's what we have to do. But when you become that way in anything, and definitely, as we know, what we're dealing with brotherly and other relationships and stuff, that's what you have to do with the relationship.
Ooh, boy.
You have to be able to open it up.
Yep.
Huh? And any component, like we started saying, what you left out, you know within yourself that you left it out. And then you got to become self-accountable, because you can't solve problems that's a have problem. And you know that within yourselves. And that's for all of us that's listening today. You know, we're after this actual foundational key piece here. We after this point to understand holding ourselves self-accountable to what we got to be able to go within ourselves. Like he said, in your own community, you can't get mad at anyone else because they're trying to look out for their own, because they're supposed to do that first. Charity starts at home. This is the principle. So this is how it's supposed to be. So those who God told, hey, I'm going to bless you for all nations, but you leave your father's land, and you be my people, Why is that? Because he wanted them to believe in him. So charity started at home. And then he told them, those who bless you, I bless them. Those who curse you, I curse them. So therefore, because of that, that's how it begins to spread abroad. You know, because we got to start at home. And there's nothing wrong with that. So we can't get mad with other people in other communities that want to start at home. They're supposed to. But we have to start at home. That's why we utilize this mathematical system situation to show you at the end of the day, no matter what's going on, the system is the same. But it's all about what are you doing with the system. I've said it on other shows in the same component, but I'm going to use the chess and checkers this time, not Monopoly and Connect 4. They have the same board. They have the same board, but there are different pieces that go on the board. And when you put the different pieces on the board, you can't move a chess piece or rook like you just do on a checkerboard now. And every piece that gets jumped in checkers may seem like you're winning because you're taking from it. But in chess, you can jump and take a piece and find yourself checkmate. So everything that's being taken is not a win. And that's what he means about the choices that you're making just as well. And these are the things that we're charged when we're even studying. You know what I'm saying? That's why I talked about the disobedience. The obedience greater than sacrifice. So you have to be able to be, like he said, sit still. What did they say with Jesus when they woke him up on the ship and they were scared and everything, and he came up and told the wind and everything, peace, be still. Huh? Lead us beside still waters. See, sometimes you just got to sit still. But while you sitting still, you still need to be who you're supposed to be now. Don't be something else when you're sitting still. Then God know who he dealing with. That's why he say he'll rather for you to be hot or cold. Because he don't need you in between. Huh? He don't need you to look warm. So when we sitting still, who are we when we sit still? And he said that, and it made it come back to me because I'm always listening. I'm a great listener now. In school, they taught us who, what, when, where, and how. And that is a process to problem solving, okay? Who, what, when, where, and how, and sometimes why.
Why? Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
Now watch this. When it comes to understanding your purpose, on another show I walked it. I walked one with my fellow man, bro Banks. We talked about a mindset, and I broke down who, what, when, where, and how, and sometimes why, on a mindset. But then I came right back on another show on purpose and did the opposite. See, when you deal with purpose, you need to know why this thing exists. So when you after purpose, that's why he began to ask the question, why do you want to do it? See, when you say you got a goal and got a vision, the first question is why? Because that's going to open up purpose. Is it really your purpose? So when you have when you have a cup of Kool-Aid and you see it on the counter, it's Kool-Aid. Now you say, why is it in the cup? Because you want to drink it. Now you know the purpose of the Kool-Aid. See, that's how you discover purpose about yourself and other things. Why? See, when you go to a mindset, you go to who first. Who, what, when, where, and how, and sometimes why. Because if you're trying to get a thought, you don't need to start with why, because you haven't anchored in who you are first. But when you after purpose, you already know these things, and now you start with why. To discover the purpose. Why does a thing exist? That's how you discover purpose. Or why. Why do they give you medicine? Why Tylenol on the aisle? Why they got shoes? Then you're going to find out the purpose of it. But if you start with who made the shoe, what is the shoe, where is the shoe, and how is the shoe, you ain't going to never get to the purpose. So when you're after purpose, I'm trying to teach that you start with why. And when you're after a mindset, you start with who. This is development. That's the self-development part of it. And those are the things that we after and using the same system, because that system will always work. Yep. It don't matter what you put in the system. If you got a spoon and you go in a peanut butter jar, the spoon gonna do what a spoon do. If you got some medicine and you pour it in a spoon, the spoon gonna do what a spoon do. The spoon is the system. It's supposed to scoop. Huh? It's supposed to hold something. Huh? The fork's supposed to have holes in it. But a lot of times we're forks trying to do spoon stuff. And then won't know why we losing, something out of it. You can't stick a fork in some water and then expect to drink it. Huh?
No, not gonna happen.
So you got to know, here we go again, who you dealing with then, huh?
That's right.
What you dealing with,
Right.
huh? How you plan on doing it, huh? You see what I'm saying? When? See, all of these things, utilize the fundamentals. That's what we after. That's that add and subtract and multiply and divide. If we stay to the fundamentals on everything, then it all will work itself out. And that's what God has always tried to teach us and still teaching us in the Word. You know, a lot of us are trying to get to the end. They're trying to bypass Jesus, huh? How you gonna bypass the step, huh? Jesus said, no one get to the Father but through me. So if you bypass the step, you can know the end, but when the teacher come and say, hey, how did you come up with that answer? Something gonna be missing.
That's right.
And that's what we out there right here on the kingdom point of view and showing the tide variable. And I could tell by this ordinance, boys, boy, Hart, boy, you got them thinking,
Man.
boy, you got them thinking and looking at themselves, boy, they are ready to activate even more than what they doing because these principles still works. Even if you are successful already, you can still be more successful because every day has a new day. That's why he tell us your daily bread. Why is it your daily bread? Because tomorrow got his own problems, huh?
Yep.
So we got to know that we got to still continue to execute daily.
The
Yes, sir, young man.
only thing constant is change.
All right, Doc.
You know, you'll never steal. You never steal. You're either improving or not. You know, once a tree stops growing, it dies.
All right, Doc.
And so, you know, when you start talking about levels of success, you know, the most successful people that I see are people that continue to set goals. And you talked about that why, man. That why is so strong. And one of my, I refer to him as my mentor, as a young guy who I met when I first started teaching my first year teaching. And he was like maybe a fifth year teacher. And I heard him doing a goal setting workshop. And he said, if your why is not strong enough, you're going to simply look for an easier how to.
I'm following.
You know what I mean? Then I heard another one say, your why got to be big enough to make you cry. You know,
You own it.
when all those things say the exact same thing, man.
Exactly.
But you know, I think the point at which I remember, you know, growing up, graduating from college, and you know, it still just didn't seem like, all right, Chris, still didn't really seem like I was fulfilled. And you know, learning stuff, start learning more about the system. And you know, when you first start learning about the system, you get frustrated.
Absolutely.
You know, like, man, what did we do to deserve this right here? You know, you get frustrated. And at that point, you know, I was so glad to just, you know, some kind of way, I did not think that I was going to pick that up in the room I was in, but I heard a guy say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
100%.
And that resonated with me. And I mean, I probably thought about that for weeks on top of weeks, man. And, you know, it just got to the point where he was like, hold up now. You mean to tell me I don't have to worry about all this stuff out here? All I have to do is focus on me? I can't control what you do. I can't control what he does or no one in here does, but I surely can control how I react to that.
Absolutely, young man.
And once I realized that, it just, I mean, it was like a breath of fresh air. You know, you mean to tell me all I gotta do is just work on controlling my reaction,
Absolutely.
not letting it stress me out,
Yes, sir.
not driving me to an early grave, you know? You mean to tell me that I can fail again, but all I gotta do is succeed one time and I'll be good?
That's it.
Like, man, that helped to remove that fear.
That's it.
You know what I mean? That helped to remove that doubt.
That's it.
You know, because, you know, you mean to tell me that, you know, hey, yeah, you might be the news story for 24 hours, but man, with all these distractions out here, man, and the busy day-to-day stuff that people going through, man,
With you.
it's gonna be in your head way longer than the next person because they got their own life that they dealing with.
100%.
So, you know, it just really just eased everything out, man, and just helped me to just really focus and continue to learn myself,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, and continue to just, you know, not have a set curriculum. I mean, shoot, man, I change. People say, well, we change our curriculum every 2 years. Man, I change my curriculum probably every month.
Yes, sir.
You know, because as I learn something else, I'm trying to pass it on to the students, man.
I got you,
Yeah.
boss man. You own it, man. I know that that's very well said, and we got one of our audience members want to say something. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I want to say the foundation of goals is very important. Very important. When I was raising my children, I told them when they was very little, set your goals, what you want to do in life, where you want to be at a certain time. I told them when they get 24 years old, they should have their own car. They should have their own home. When you get 30, if you hadn't reached not one of those goals, your life is going backwards. So goals are very important to set, and we must instill that into our young people so they can understand about life. And life is whatever you make out of it. If you ain't got goals and working toward them, then you're not going anywhere.
All right.
Agree wholeheartedly. Agree
Absolutely.
wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. That's pretty tough. I mean, that's definitely a lot of great information, bro, Hart. And like I say, man, I definitely enjoying everything. And I know that we've helped a lot of people, you know, from this perspective because that goal setting and understanding variables and components, like it said a lot on the show, and trying, you know, tying it all into the word and showing that the same principles are there, you know, and that we still got to always pursue these type of things and never stop and never take it as if like we're already dormant or complacent, as they say, that we've already arrived and then that's just it. Because like you said, hey, a tree, if it stopped growing, it's dead. So you can never stop growing. And we got to always know that on a day-to-day basis that we still got to be able to produce. And that's something that's always still left in us, as it always been said, that if we got breath of life in us, we still got something to do. And I heard Miles Monroe said, and many others, but Miles Monroe said it's called hidden potential. And a lot of times when you talked about that pressing down and putting stuff down, we got potential that is in us that we're masking and we pushing down, and because we don't know, you know, exactly what it is, and then now those systems have taught us just to keep it in that area, like you said, and that was a very great point, in that we limit ourselves because of that, and not knowing that we should be actually taking who we are into these arenas with what we've learned, so that we can develop and grow and add to, you know, in a positive way. And that's definitely been a great thing.
I would say one more thing, because I forgot to say it, and I was just like, I mean, I thank the people that came out, because, I mean, the community is so important as well, too.
Absolutely.
Because when you start talking about just the operation of the mind, and especially the subconscious mind, see, the subconscious mind can't pick up on negatives. So, like, for example, you know, I see young men or young women say, hey, man, you know, I don't want to be like my dad.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to be like my mom. But the subconscious is still thinking about that person you say you don't want to be like. That's what it's thinking about. It doesn't pick up on the not, because that's what you're focusing. Whatever you focus upon, it expands. So that's why the community is so important. So then instead of them saying what they don't want to be like, they say, man, I want to be like D'Angelo, because I like the way he move. I like, you know, when I see him, he always got a smile on his face. Now that focus is on that positive image.
Correct.
And now, once they lock that in, it's going to expand.
That's the whole point.
That's just how it works.
That's how it works.
Can't stop it.
Absolutely.
You know, you can't stop it. But you know, when you focused on that other, even though your intentions are great,
There you go. Good
that's
word.
still your focus.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's that directional piece, young man, that you just explained. And like you say, you hitting dead on it. And that's what it's all about for everyone that's listening, those who are here and those who are here in the future. That focus point is very key. And that's why it was discussed earlier about your vision and what it is you focus on, and making sure that you are on a certain narrow path of positive, and that wise counsel and people that are inspiring in a great way, and knowing that the bad company that I talked about can corrupt that good character and things. So all of those things are important, and like I say, in a whole nutshell, like I say, I think that we've done a great job so far on I'm gonna call session one on just
Session one,
open,
man. Hey, man,
on open discussion with Mr. Hart, and who knows who else may be inspired to come along and share some information just like you did, to know that all of this is in kingdom building, because that process of understanding the position that you're in and what you have been through and understanding from your mechanism, and that delivery was great, following along, activating, what I'm saying? I knew the button to push on, what I'm saying? I knew what button to push on to get them to talking, man, and that was beautiful, man, because we do need to understand those components when it comes to education, and like you said, especially in the 9th grade, and you gave that notation about those things and steps, and that's what I was after.
Yeah.
I knew
well, the
to
thing
make
is,
sure.
what I can do is I'll send you a lot of stuff so you can attach it
That'll be great.
to the podcast and stuff like that, along with my information and some other information that people may find useful. So then once you get it, it'll either be links, email addresses, PDFs and things like that of that nature, because the basic structure is basic, but you have to learn those basics, and then once you just embody those basics and take them in, and you can step out the way, because my goal with every student I work with, or the groups of students I work with, I'm not interested in telling them what to do.
Absolutely.
I just want to help them become self-aware.
That's it.
So now I become the gutter lanes at the bowling alley. When they let the gutter balls, people can't bowl.
There you go.
You go too far left, I'll push you on back. You go too far right, I'll push you back. But I don't want to lead you.
I got you.
Because I want to be able to sit back and look and say, whoa, look
That's
at that
it.
right there.
You got it right, Doc.
You know what I mean?
You got it right.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And that's a great way to do it. And what you said, and there's nothing else to add to that, Mr. Hart. That's what it's all about. And you definitely pressed it right. And here on the Kingdom Point of View, hopefully we inspired everybody, and hopefully that it motivated them and gave them that inspiration that we out there. And I'm sure it did. Because like I say, hey, even myself, even inspired, I be smiling, listening when I hear the truth and things that are good, and especially a key word you said, from good intent. So we're here talking about a system that can work for you if you become self-accountable and self-aware and start pushing forward with these ideas that have been shared today. And they've been some great ones. And definitely, young man, I was glad to have you.
And I appreciate you inviting me, man.
Yes, sir. And we'll see you next time. And once again, thank you for tuning in to the Kingdom Point of View, and we'll see you next time. That was good, but that was a lot of good information. That boy,
man.